Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I just see my camera isn't working, so that's not a great start. Let's try again. Oh man. You think you've got it, and you don't have a thing. Oh well. I think I might know why. Let's see if it's the reason here. It is indeed. Hey everyone. So nice to see you all here. Shame it's gone through the wrong way. So I'm gonna quickly make some edits because I have something for us to actually go through today, and I'm just gonna switch back and try to get this actually looking for gameplay, so you don't have to look at my ugly mode. Come through this space. And let's try again. And one more time. There we go. Awesome. Fantastic. So let me know if you can hear everything okay. I'm trying to still mess around with that of the sounds and everything. So if anything feels like it's going awry, just give me a shout and I'll make the changes as we see fit for it. Sorry, it never goes as smooth as I hope. There we go, I've got you back again. Sorry everyone, there seems to be some disconnection errors for it. Okay. Alright, so I think we're up and running. Please do type messages, everyone. The more you chat, the more I know on elements that are happening. All of those things here. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining me. This one's going to be a bit of a shorter one, but I want to just chat because we haven't spoken in ages. I haven't done a stream in ages, and it's a bit of a last minute. I think you could tell by the quality of my stream up in here. But nonetheless, I'm here and really just looking forward and excited to be chatting to all of you today. So, oh, sorry, caps is on. Okay, so yeah, just let's go through a few things. So I'm going to be going through and actually going through the God of War level that I've been working on. Let me know if you want me to go through the documentation. I'm kind of just going to be building, keep it relaxed for us to have a conversation and just be able to talk. So by all means, just ask questions to come through. I say if you want to see the documentation side, drop a message when you talk about it. I'm just going to jump in and build. I'm sure you love hearing me take a sip of water as well. But we're going to be looking for about 30 minutes or so of us all up on here. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to talking, and you know, thank you very much again for joining me. It's obviously a pleasure to have you all here. So without further ado, I'm gonna have to double check because I think my chat here is not great. I won't lie, I think some of the stuff that's going on here is a little bit not perfect as I'm saying. So we'll go through, we'll continue, and all of that great things. So this here is going to be the very start of it. My plan is for the opening cutscene here is basically you'll have the axe, Leviathan axe, come fly in multiple times, but it's going to be triggered when the player presses a certain key. It'll fly back, go off screen, player hits it again, boom, until eventually the tree goes over like so. So that's the plan of it, and then when Kratos comes to walk over, that's when the camera will fly around. So I had to go make obviously that stuff happen. But the first stage is obviously me blocking this out for it. But let's get my actual references up and about around here. So we can have them for sure around. For those of you who want to see it, this is, sorry, I have to remember the controls. This is what we've got here. This first area we're going to start on is kind of inspired by these 3 images for it. I like that there's not many trees here. That's going to play into the narrative I want. So we've got these kind of like rough areas, mainly kind of bushes, these sort of things, the occasional tree we see. And then we're going to see this as a landmark a little bit later. So that's kind of where we're going with the planning for it at this moment in time. So I'm just kind of replicating this kind of area now, what we're trying to do. So let me just fly that over here and then make sure I can see that as well. Awesome sauce. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you like the references. Really important for us all. I say I want to make sure I get into the great habit of seeing that, right? So with that said, what I'm going to build out now, because what I've got right now is we finish here, and then we as the player are going to see this kind of river flowing down here. That's kind of the plan. I think I'll need to change the levels. Like, I think I probably need to raise this up so the player can get a better view to see the river kind of going down. So that's what we're going to take a quick look at now. For that, I'm gonna flatten this out up here for it. Let's raise up this area here. So for sure this is not the you know, always the most amazing side of it's coming through, but this is kind of, I said, experimenting with this. And I'm gonna rotate that down. One of the things that's, you know, kind of newish for me is obviously working in organic environments as well. I've done some of it obviously on Hellblade, but it's still, you know, my primary level, should I say, that I've built have obviously been in that of cities. So one of the things when watching Peter Field give a great talk about this was him referencing about when you're making organic areas, making it feel that way, right? So it feels off the grid. And that, hey Joe, how's it going, man? So this is what I'm kind of having a looking at right now, is making sure I keep things off the grid and making sure that we have that kind of space here. So if we look down, I'm probably going to have to rotate this down as well so we have the view for it. Let me just get my character spawn start. This here is the area that I've already built. Well, I guess I'll play just that so you can all see that. This here is so this is already me rebuilding in that of God of War. So this is where you first come in. I've built it as if you're on your way up to where Atreus and Kratos' house is, which is over here. And this, you know, it's cool to do, but obviously an LD has already done incredible work that I'm just replicating in the editor to use. So you can tell that this takes place after the main story. So we have both. What I actually am noticing now is just how small that is. So I'm going to have to change that in a second. Hey, Joe. Yes. No, mate, you've got nothing to apologize for, you know. Swing by, ask questions, brother. It's nice to hear from you. I hope you're well, man. It's been too long for it, so really glad to hear from you, mate. Yes, this is UE5, mate, and this is what I'm using at the moment for it. Let me change that speed all the way down. But for like what I do, mate, it doesn't feel much different from that of, say, from that of UE4 really. Like, it's definitely more helpful for, to say, those of artists and animators. There's some new stuff in the pipeline there, but for level design, it's not that different. I'm sure someone's going to tell me there is some big differences, but for how I've used it thus far, not seeing a huge amount of them. So raise this up here, make sure we have that scale. Yeah, that definitely needs to be bigger still. Probably so do these trees actually. So I've already shown that I've got some of the scale off here with some of the things, so I need to go back and edit that for it. Yeah, that seems alright. It's more of this stuff. Yeah, mate, as I say, the lumen in that is, I hear it's supposed to be really good. I just hear it's quite a challenge switching over at the start. But, you know, again, I hear nothing but incredible things about it once you get it actually up and running on it, man, you know what I mean? Yes, I did, mate. So this is, I say, the opening scene. And for the story that I'm going to do, it's going to take place, the second part of the level is going to take place inside here. So I want to recreate that. And then the stuff we're seeing over there, that's going to be new stuff that I'm actually, you know, putting together for it, mate. So yeah, I just wanted to create this, get me back in the flow of things first for it, man, is the plan of it. What have you been up to, by the way, man? Like, how's things going? You back out on tour now that, you know, COVID's starting to loosen up? I hope that's giving you some stuff. If you're playing in Krakow again, man, just let me know, by the way. I'd love to come see you. I'd love to come see you and just obviously watch you perform as well and see you master of your craft, my friend. Yeah, that feels much better size-wise. This seems okay for it. Yeah. That's all right there. Great. I'm going to play around those trees a little bit later. I am definitely losing focus, though, from where I should be. But yeah, that's an area I recreated, guys and girls. And for the second part, this is where it's take place. We're going to actually end the level, like section 1 here, and then move our way down here. For now, I've started us out here. I just want to build that in isolation for us so we can see a bit of that before we obviously head on down through to this final space here. So I'm just starting to block this out. I say, started to get the flow going already with the first part of it. So let's get down to business. Okay. Now what I'm going to do from here is that no way, dude. That's amazing. You should get in contact sometime. I don't know if you're contracting, if you're, like I said, I don't know if you're full time, but let me know, man. Like, you know, I've got some contacts who are looking for some good sound designers. I know you'd be great at it, so you know, give us a shout, man. Like, no worries, dude. Yeah, I would love to, man. If you want to hit us up on either Twitter or emails at leveldesignlobby@gmail.com, man, shoot us an email and we'll start getting in contact for sure, man. Pleasure to hear from you. All the best, man. Any anecdote? Man, sorry. Thank you very much for your kind words. Really appreciate it, and you know, I hope my levels get better. That's why we're here. Thank you for joining us, sending your kind messages, mate. I really appreciate it. Doodle-doo. So let's see how the distance feels from here. So we can start to see, but I definitely need to get that down a little bit further from here. Scale wise, we'll make that a little bit bigger as well. So jump on that. So what I'm going to do now is, because I notice a lot of let me just bring it up so we can all see it. So one of the things I'm using for a reference is actually a walkthrough. So I get to see the 2D maps and seeing how they've created it. Obviously the LDs who worked on God of War are some of the best, and you know, I'm really inspired by their work. Let's get it open. Here we go. So you can see here already by the map how kind of linear it is, with a lot of corridors there is. Now they hide it very well with the illusion of space and mountain ranges. I think, again, great work by the team. So I'm constantly using these as references to help me actually understand how they work as well. I've obviously got the art book on top of this, so I'm very much, you know, a massive fan for it. So that helps me. So if you're ever looking to make a game, definitely take the time to research and gather as much reference as possible, because the more that you have, the better it is for your understanding. So yeah, and then we follow that down. That's cool with me. I'm going to put some sort of local landmark there. That's going to look nice for the players to also drag their focus as well further away. What I'm going to add here now is an entrance to cave to show how the player got here. But what I'm also going to do is, by putting that local landmark, my plan is, as you can see, this water's come from somewhere. What the plan is we're going to have another kind of like little cavern entrance which we can see slightly through, which has some sort of chest or treasure. And basically I'm going to connect the two by, if the player chooses to go back and backtrack, they unlock that and unlock another route around. So that's the plan with this one that you're going to see me build out right now. I'm really glad that I'm actually up on here chatting to all you lovely folks as well, because it keeps me in check to make sure I'm actually building stuff. So I hope you're building as well, team, because this is, you know, important thing for all of us at the end of the day with it. I want to see, what was I using? Here we go. Oh, it's just a cube. Coolio. So let's get some ridges out here. Abdul, thank you for joining, Max. Why did I call you my name, mate? That was the one that I was looking for. I'm well, mate. Thank you. I hope that you're doing well. Appreciate it, but still feel like I need to, you know, always do more. I think we're all plagued by that, right? So I'm just looking to, you know, get into this. You may not see me do this all the time, but the more work, you know, you see, I'm hoping to just show more of the process for us all to see, and just to show you. Again, I'm learning a lot here. Like I said, organic levels are not my forte. It's not been my past experiences thus far. So, you know, like, the more we put together, the better for it on that. Oh, cheers. Is that? I hope the music isn't too loud, by the way. You know, I never know how loud it is versus on the actual stream versus that of you know, my headphones versus actually out there. So let's make this just a little bit thinner. Hey Naughty mate, how are we doing? You alright? Do you know what? I actually just came up with this whole backtracking section, I think earlier today. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, and I was like, oh, maybe. And now that I'm thinking, I'm like, God, it was just the right move, just because I love, again, I don't know if they necessarily have it. Yeah, they do have one here. But just having some sort of treasure that just off the beaten path, and if you can create, I don't think there is a connection here, but just creating that kind of, it rewards exploration. We get to see it, and because another thing that I see a lot of junior LDs mistake they make is we always start somewhere, but when we're giving context, we always want to imagine how did the player actually get here, right? Like, what's the narrative? So by creating this, yeah, I'm going to block part of it off. You can't get back, etc. But by creating that, you know, it answers some questions. So, yeah, you know, that's it. Abdul, you asked my friend. Not sure if you remember, but we used to do one-on-ones. Oh, dude, yeah. Oh, congratulations, Abdul, mate. For those who don't know, I run a mentorship program. Abdul is one of the previous students I worked with, and he was working on this really incredible Ghost of Tsushima level, which, if I remember correctly, mate, we scaled down at one point because you had such a broad opening space, and I loved that. You had, because when we were working on that of an outpost, but what you did really well, or Abdul did really well, is he gave like a sample of the open world design around the space as well, such as like random encounters, loot that fit in the narrative, and I thought it was really well done. So hearing that you're finishing up documentation, moving through it, man, that's great to hear, buddy. Really good. And what we got with Naughty, he's doing awesome. It's great to see. I'm building a God of War level at the moment, mate. So I'm just looking at the starting point. I can show you the documentation if you really want to see like that of like what actually is happening, because I haven't shown it on the stream thus far, just because I didn't know if people really wanted to see it, and I've just been focused on building, right? You know, just keeping plodding forward. But that's it on my side, you know. What are you up to? You doing anything? You building anything good, mate? Oh, dude, I know. I can't figure out. I know it says stuff to do with Cyberpunk. I can't figure out how to change it, and I forgot to change it before I hit streams, like an imbecile. It's it's saying Cyberpunk when I'm building something with God of War. So please do forgive that for anyone who's come for that. It wasn't till later I was like, oh god, I've messed it up. So I need to figure out how to change it, but I don't think I can change it at this moment in time, right? So give the illusion, right? So I hooked everyone in for it. So yeah, apologize nonetheless, matey. You know, it's all the illusions that I'm trying to bring as the same, but so, you know, no secrets given away today, just me doing a little passion project for it, man. So okay. So yeah. Gabrielle says, show it. The documentation? Yeah, give me 2 minutes, so I'll do that for you. Thank you for asking for it. And Abdul says, yeah, man, thank you for your help and the feedback. The initial meeting really helped me understand the fundamentals of LD. I couldn't wrap my head around. No worries at all. I said, happy to help and be of assistance. What I'm going to do, which I shouldn't be doing just yet. What are you doing? That is not working how I intended for that. But what I'm gonna do is create a small little stream coming out of here to draw players' attention in maybe just a puddle or something for it. should I say? I shouldn't necessarily be doing that right now because that is a finicky detail, and really I should be just continuing to block spaces out. Okay. All right. So let's go through the documentation. Nordy says, I'm currently working on a lot of virtual production and world building in UE 4 and 5 with the college I'm working as teaching assistant. Awesome. How are you finding that, mate? Great to see you teaching more people. All right, let me pull up the documentation. So here is the documentation. Some of you have seen the tweets about it, but I'm just going to quickly run through it just because the fact that, like I said, we don't have a huge amount of time and I should really just be blocking stuff out versus versus that of, how do I say, of going through it. But let's go through nonetheless for this. So yeah, I have I'm using Miro. A lot of companies are moving towards using Miro. And I think it's an incredible tool, and especially how people use it. I've also started to play around with it. Now, normally I teach people to use PowerPoints, but with the fact that remote working is moving forward, this and Milanote have been such an incredible and powerful tool set to use. So I'm giving a bit of a synopsis. Here's kind of like my summary paragraph about everything. And this is going to... I read the comics, which were a prequel before the latest game, and there are things that I really liked about that, but I've taken it and added it as actually changing the timeline so it finishes in, or I should say starts after the first game is completed. And there's a few things taken in it, I think I liked, some things that I didn't, but it really helped me give me a narrative to start with. So after completing the game, they return home and they're trying to build their home, but also they're rebuilding it. They're also working on their new family dynamic. Kratos finds himself very angry, and he's trying to figure out how to control that anger and also teach Atreus. And he heads off to search for repairs of food. So I was looking at that of repairs for food, repairs for the house, and was looking at that. So that's where we start off in our level over here, looking for certain woods and trees as we go through this forest to find that. And then we come to our timeline, which some of you have seen is also that of the pacing graph, and also a timeline here. Some people like timelines, some people don't. Either one's fine, but I like to show this nonetheless. So like we talked about the opening scene with this kind of cutting off the tree, with this over here. And then we go off and traverse to find more trees. We need to find 2 of 3. We're going to have a bridge puzzles or just overall puzzle to kind of mix up the pacing. Keep going through to find the other tree, and this is where we come across wolves here. Now, I don't know if we're going to have combat with them yet or not, but I want this to be the scene. And then we follow the trail of blood to find ourselves these kind of bear berserkers, which are in the comics. I really liked the concept of them. They're a really cool idea. So we're going to be taking them, and then from that point, we're going to have combat. We're going to go off into this kind of bear temple kind of thing that we find in the woods for it, because these berserkers worship this kind of bear god, which gives them the power to transform into bears. So once we go into there, we look to escape and then start heading home for it. So that's section 1. Section 2, I know what's going to take place, I just need to finish it off. But we can go through and see, characters we expect to come across, the environments, which is just my pure ref images, and kind of the mechanic designs that I'm looking to leverage in my space. A really important one for me is trying to actually make this stuff happen as well. Because in my Spider-Man one, I had some bits of gameplay, but I didn't have all of them. And so I'm really focusing on making sure that I add more gameplay into this space. So it's going to take a lot more time to build it and make it realized, but that's what I wanted to look at. Other thing is when I was looking at making this level is focusing on the theming, so about family, fear of failure, so in terms of being a bad dad, rage, as we know Kratos is a very angry man. Then the gameplay we're looking at is combat, traversal, puzzles and scene, environment, forest will be forest and mountainous areas, time of day, noon, looking at the weather. All of these I'm trying to keep in with the theme, right? So it's partially sunny, partially cloudy, as we're just starting to go off into Kratos' mind as he's trying to, as he's trying to control himself and repair the house. Then when he starts to have doubts in his kind of like mental ability in terms of controlling the rage, this is when it'll start to turn cloudy. So the weather's starting to reflect that as well. So that's one of the things that I'm really trying to focus on, is making sure the narrative themes are shown in the level on top of this. So yeah, some really interesting ones that I'm looking at. Sorry again if I've just rushed that team. I said, don't have much time, so I'm kind of just going through and trying to build stuff out. So I hope that answers. If you do have questions, again, post them up here, team. I'll answer as much as I can. Snorty says Unreal 5 is fantastic in terms of visual performance capabilities, but also modeling. Yeah, dude, it's really interesting stuff to see. I'm still getting to grips with it. So if you have any thoughts on really cool ideas, tips, tricks, let me know, mate. I'd love to learn more about it. I don't know, guys. Yo, Max, so happy to see you pop on my feed. I remember chilling with you. Hey, man, absolute pleasure, and it's good to see you, you know, and man, E3 2019, great time. Shame E3's kind of not been since, but I hope you're well, mate. You know, it's an absolute pleasure to be chatting with you again. Abdul asks, is Miro like Google Docs where multiple people can work at the same time? Correct, you can, and also you can see where people are as well, so it's really good for conducting meetings. So it's, and also it's just much more visually engaging. Now again, this is a layout that I have constructed and worked on. Give a shout out to Natalia, who's a friend and previous co-worker over on Cyberpunk, and you know, she created not this one, but something that inspired me to look at this. So that's how I came up with this template here. But again, I've seen people use other templates and other amazing stuff out there, but I just like to divide it out so each team could add their own elements in each color coordinating. So if I have a note and I have something that maybe I want environment to change, you can instantly see, oh, okay, they're this color, so they know which team's requesting it. You can do phase one, which would be like pre-production, production, polish, all that there. Director feedback, another feedback can be added for that. So I really thought about, like, again, how team members would actually interact with that space as well. Creative AF says, so cool to see you see how you express the narrative of the environment. Yeah, I think it's something that we, you know, with obviously environment artists get a bit of control over, right? So it's something that I want to improve and get better at as well, making sure I consider these kind of design approaches, you know, looking at what was it? It was whose level was it? Was it Michael Barclay's? I can't remember whose exact level it was, but one of the designers and LDs on Last of Us 2, it's the mission where Abby's going up across the skyscrapers over the kind of constructed rusted bridges, and you're seeing the weather start to turn. Oh, was it that one? Or was it the one in the boat? But they really play with weather to reflect the emotion, and I loved that, and think, you know, again, a lot to learn from it. So I'm just being very conscious about what I'm trying to make as well, and how to use that. Gabriel says, thanks for sharing your docs. I love the intensity graph. Never done that. Yeah, like I said, some people like it, some people don't. If you speak to my mate Evan, he really doesn't like them, and I understand the point. Like, you don't want to design by Excel, shall we say, but it sometimes helps you kind of understand the overall flow. But again, like, it's a document, right? Like, it's there to help you figure it out. You're not stuck to it. I might go through later and be like, God, this is just too boring, right? Like, it's too low intensity, so I need to start picking it up, either adding more puzzles, or do I throw a fight with the wolves first and then the bear? Things like that, right? So I'm still learning again from it, but it's a starting point, a starting piece that helps us all go through it. So yeah. Is the level very linear in how it flows and progresses? It's going to be, because it's a God of War one, right? There are going to be different paths the player can take, but they will initially and inevitably all end in the same space, right? So I think, you know, that's how the God of War levels work, right? So it's definitely going to be linear overall. So, but there's going to be, like I said, some choices, but yeah, some interesting ones overall for it. Abdul says, that's so cool. Yeah, do the same in Uncharted 4's jail level. Start off sunny, then turns exactly, mate. Reflecting that, so still, again, a lot to learn from myself with this. For Mansky says, I've always used Miro for storyboarding my games. Yeah, great to see, mate. Like, there's, I say, been used in such a multitude of ways, right? I'm sure your Miro boards look very different to the one I've shown, which again, just inspires creativity and how people use them. I'm going to see how that feels distance-wise. Actually, what I'm going to do to make this look less appealing is have this start a little bit lower, because we're higher here and we get to see something here. It's going to be contrasting to this being a little bit lower as well. Is what we're going to learn to do to make it feel less appealing, because we're going down. I know we're going down here, but the movement of water will also pull us in as well. So there's looking at ways to make some spaces feel more valuable and more appealing for the player than others. Whoops, that's way too. Let's actually make you go down a meter here and make you have a bit of a step up for it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, alright. That. This is why I shouldn't have bothered with the detail at first, team. Because you never know how it's going to go. Formansky says, considering I was reading your blogs earlier, so it's interesting to see your thought process live. I don't know if interest is the right word, mate. I think it's funny because I believe everyone somehow thinks that, you know, you instantly like know what you're going to do and it's going to be like all figured out, when really, man, it's never figured out. Like, that's the one thing like I really want to stress when I especially have like students that I'm mentoring, is it's an iterative process. You don't necessarily know how things are going to go, right? Like, it's very much a designed by kind of trial, right? Like, already I've had so much thoughts about just these spaces here, which don't look particularly interesting, don't look like anything's cool is happening, but to me it's something cool. To me it's focused on those details which will help make this stuff remembered, right? Well, oh, this is a little bit too big for it. I need to get a hotkey just to toggle between two speeds, I think. That doesn't look good, that rock. Just something to fit down here. Let's see what we have. Hold on. Around. Again, I shouldn't be really focusing on the frilly stuff here, but I just like splitting that path up for it and getting a nice frame with that tree there. All right, now I've got that kind of sorted. Let's go through and start adding the rest to it. Sorry, friends are texting me. Apparently, I don't know if anyone watches basketball. Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Nets, which I didn't see coming. Okay. So I have to think about. Let me pull over my Pura for me to see caves in here. Now, we obviously don't want something as crazy as this, but we can definitely take some inspiration from that here, which again why it's so important for everyone to have references. I really like this spot here. Have I ever been hiking in a cave? Yes. A long time ago, not recent, but yeah, I loved it. I love hiking and getting to see and be around nature. I've never gone like spelunking or anything like that, but you know, it's incredible. I'm trying to think. This here is great because this is a salt mine just a bit outside of Krakow, and honestly, it's a crazy cool place to go see. But yeah, these are some of the ice caves over in Iceland, which I'd love to be able to actually go visit one day. And so yeah, no, I can't imagine me even squeezing through it. Not now after COVID, my COVID 20 pounds, you know what I mean? So, but one can dream, mate, one can dream. So I'm gonna curve this around a little bit more. And what I'm gonna do is create a squeeze through here and then have this go just for a little bit more to where the entrance from Kratos came in. Okay, let's kind of break that up a little bit. A little bit more. That up there, start to break that off with some height, and we can go through that space here. Keep this so we come through. Why is that angled like so? What I'm going to do here as well is have a little gap that players can see through here, so there's the illusion of space when players go through and see this spot down here. It's much smaller than what it needs to be. I actually need to check the height and size with our character as well, making sure that suits it. So, there. Scale that up. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, probably needs to be. I could probably push this back a little bit as well. There we go. Give some more room for that to breathe, so the player isn't just instantly up that on and enter and exit. Sorry. Yeah, I don't. I don't necessarily know if they're always good decisions made for it. Creative AF says you make decisions so quickly it's cool to see. I honestly, sorry, I was reacting to a text I got there. But yeah, it just comes from, again, you know, we spoke about this, like, this is a spot to experiment. Like, even when we talked about documentation, right? Like, I have an idea, I have a 2D map on with me on my desk here, but at the end of the day, like, I'm able to go through and decide, oh, does this work, does this not work now, you know? Instantly I can figure that out. So it again just comes from playing around and seeing what makes sense and what feels good as well, because as I said, that coming out from here and then just straight onto it didn't feel quite right. So this feels a little better. I'll probably push it back again a bit more, but just seeing, you know, seeing this versus something that's dipped further down, I think I'll need to make that bigger as a whole. But things like that I just think are just come from such a you know, play around and figure it out kind of mindset, which is, you know, just again looking for what feels good for the player. I think is always the important part for that, you know. So but yeah, exactly, you know, it comes from testing, us just jumping around, quickly jumping in, seeing what feels good there instantly is you know, something that we are instantly trying to learn from. Just come over here. Feel a bit more organic of that, and obviously come across here. We'll fix that gap in a second from that. Hey, this mate. It says VTech here from CDP, man. How you doing, man? Just scrolling the YouTube main page. See your beautiful face. What's up, man? How's it going? I am still in Warsaw, brother. Yes, still here. Still streaming from the war right now. But yeah, everything's good, mate. Everything's, you know, pretty relaxed at this moment in time, which is very rare to say in our industry, you know what I mean, mate? But like, it's all good, man. What about you? How's life treating you, mate? You still you still enjoying what am I saying? Do you still enjoy your time over in Crack, right? If I'm remembering correctly. And mate, like, it's so good to hear from you. You have to drop me an actual message so we can actually have a great chat and actual catch up, buddy. Like, I'd love to hear from you again, man. So, but yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Right, I'm actually going to wrap things up from here because I just realized the time. I need to start heading off. So I should say thank you all for coming on the stream and chilling with me for this time. It's been an absolute brilliant time, and I've you know, hope that you've had fun. I've had fun talking with all of you. We'll try do this as a normal thing. Oh, no way, you're over on that. I didn't realize you'd moved over to Infinity War. God damn, that's really cool. Congratulations on that, mate. That must be awesome. Like I said, drop me an actual message after this and we'll have a proper catch up, mate. But yeah, again, it's lovely to hear from you and stream for you all and be able to talk. If you want to, you know, me to do more of this, just let me know. Tweet at me, all these things. Let's keep in contact, everyone. So thank you all very much. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. And I'll catch you all